Happy New Year, everyone. This is Northwood's Dream, and it's after the New Year, and I've been waiting to get this video out, trying to compile everything, and it looks like we have made it. First off, I would like to say this year has been nothing but amazing. I started to pack up my house, do a little bit of refurbishments, clear up the house, make it look as nice as possible, and get this house sold. This house was in Florida. I redid so many different things with the kitchen, the bedrooms, carpets, outside, cleaning, and after all that was finished, I got a yard sale going to sell everything that I had. I mainly kept just my personal items and items that were sentimental in value. Before I left Florida, I was able to see my daughter's prom and also her graduation, which was pretty phenomenal. And I packed up everything that I had into a U-Haul trailer and started to drive my way to the Wisconsin Northwoods, where I was beholden to some beauty and ready to start. However, I wanted to take a trip to Thailand before beginning. Thailand, I got to see an amazing, beautiful woman that I'm just cherished to be with, and I've also had so much amazing fun. She was able to bring me to so many different places, and I was due a vacation after quitting my job and trying to start over. So we had such an amazing time. We saw the markets, we saw the city, we saw the country. We had some pretty amazing shopping sprees. But the sights were amazing, and we were able to enjoy each other for the time we had spent together. Food was also amazing, by the way. And it began. So we started cutting trees for a driveway into one of the most beautiful spots I'd ever seen in my life. To be out in nature, I can't even explain how amazing it is to see just the animals and not industrialization. I've seen that for so long. This was something that was well needed in my life, and I can't be happier with where we're at. Once we started cutting, we saw a vision, and the vision slowly came into view faster and faster as the spring and summer carried on. Hired a company to come in and take out all the stumps, build me a new, brand spanking new looking driveway, and couldn't be happier with the progress that they made and the final product that was seen when completed. The guys out here that were working were such an amazing group of guys. I couldn't be more happier with the kindness that they showed for a newbie out here in the woods. Now, I had grown up out here and seen a lot of this before, but this was the first time that I owned a piece of property of my own in the Northwoods of Wisconsin. Watching all the progress being made was something to behold. Of course, the first building that needed to get onto the property was a proper outhouse, so we had a place to do our business. I inherited this shed, if you will, from my dad, who inherited it from his dad. And it needed a little TLC. It had been neglected for the last few years. So I took the time to put on some new lumber, put on a new roof, give her a little paint, and wow, did it ever look nice. So this was the very first the first building moved over to the property. But before I could put it in place, we needed to make sure that we had a hole. And it was pretty easy to dig, I'm not gonna lie. It was pretty sandy. I did hit some clay, which was a little bit rough at times, but it seemed to, after about 2 feet, it seemed to go pretty easily. After the outhouse was installed in place, we went ahead and moved the camper as well to get her over to the property. This was a monumental step for me. I got to actually live out on my property, so I couldn't be happier to walk out of the camper every morning to the nature and the beautiful smells of fresh cut pine. The views were nothing but amazing, and it was just great to walk the property through the pines and settle down to a campfire in the evenings. Once we had the pad laid out and almost ready for concrete, we had to make sure that I had to have some type of heating for the future. So I thought about it, and it seemed like the best idea was to have an outdoor wood boiler and run underfloor heating for the garage, and later I will do it for the house. We got a solar system set up, which was amazing to have some type of power out here on the property. And just as we got that finished, look what shows up but the lumber to begin the build. And now I had never done this ever in my life. Built something this magnitude. It was a little bit frightening. It was a little bit overwhelming at first, I will say. It seemed like way too much. I was in over my head. The good thing was I had family around, people who had done this in the past and wouldn't lead me astray. Once we were starting, I started to gain some confidence in measurements, openings, where we were going to put our anchors, how the walls were going to be put up. And I will say it came up pretty well. I had no real issues with the entire build. We did a pretty good job getting her situated. I was looking forward to moving into the garage. The camper at this point was nice and comfy. However, by this time in the build, I was ready for a living space, a spot where I could sit down on a chair in front of the TV, relax, eat dinner at an actual table. So there was a little bit of anxiousness to get it done, but at the same time, I knew if I went too fast, the mistakes would come more easily. So we took our time, we got it done right. Most of this build was pretty much 2 people, me and my dad, and then sometimes we had extra helpers with my cousin Andy and another Uncle Tim. One of my nephews came out for a couple days, so there was a lot of help out here. I did have to wait sometimes for help to arrive because there was just things that I just couldn't do myself. But for the most part, she went up pretty well with just with two people working at one single time. There's not a whole lot of jobs where you need a big giant group of folks. So if anybody's trying to do this, I'm sure you could do it with two people. And I'm sure that you could do it a lot faster with a little bit more equipment to get things done easier, lifting wise. But for the most part, two people with a little bit of muscle can handle some business. I felt throughout this entire build that I was behind, that the snow was coming. So there seemed like a rush in the air constantly for me to get things done. However, hindsight being 80, 90, 40, we didn't get snow, really. Snow that stuck, I should say, until a few days ago. But you can't plan on that. That's something that it just comes when it wants to. And I was guessing November-ish we were going to get some snow and it was going to stick for the year. So it was really pressing. I passed on a lot of things this year. I bought fishing license, hunting license, and I didn't get out there as much as I would have liked to do any of that. This was probably one of the funnest days of the build. Putting up the trusses, some amazing camaraderie, some amazing fun, if you will. Definitely hard work. Definitely could feel the pain as the day wore on. This would be something I would change if I could have. Due to the fact that we waited for the trusses probably a week or two, maybe even 3 after we had done the walls, I went ahead and wrapped the walls, and then I ended up wrapping the top trusses on both sides. I wish it would all have been done at one single time. I don't think it really matters. However, we were moving forward, and that's all that mattered. I miss days like this where it was warm on the outside. Winter can take its toll with the cold weather. It seems very odd to see myself working out there with short sleeve shirt. And now when I roll outside, it's 20 degrees, maybe 13 degrees with a wind chill, and bundling up on a constant basis. However, I do love the winter, definitely more than most of the seasons. Fall probably being my favorite. Putting the sheeting on the roof was a feat. I ended up knocking that out all in one day. We were rushing to get the machine back. So I laid 48 sheets of OSB on the roof in one single day. And it seemed the garage was coming together. The building was looking like a building, and getting the garage doors in was a major step of closing in the building. The roof was requiring to be done before we were completely dried in, but we were getting there, and it felt like a good step of progress had been made. We were shaded from the sun at this point, And although it was close to fall, it was still warm. A lot of the jobs, if I was able to do them by myself, I definitely did them by myself. I'm not one to ask for help, as most people will know. If you come out and you're more than happy to help, it's great. However, if I can handle it myself, I'm gonna do it myself. There were a few tasks where I definitely had to call some folks, and this is one of them. I had to call my cousin Andy to make sure this job got done in a timely manner. This was super difficult. Anything on the roof was super difficult by yourself. I wouldn't say to do any roofing by yourself. One, it's dangerous to be up on the roof by yourself. Tying yourself in, any safety precautions you can take, I would definitely take. However, with a second body, at minimum a second body being out there is definitely the way to go, just for safety purposes, if something were to happen to you. Once the roof was pretty close to being done at this point, however, we were able to finish the roof, and that was a step that was very rewarding. I knew that we weren't going to get any water in the building anymore, and now we moved on to interior. So we got the wiring going. Wiring was fairly easy. I wouldn't mind wiring. I won't say for a living, but I wouldn't mind wiring more. I wish I knew more about it, no doubt about it. But the actual wiring was a-okay, no issues. Installation, on the other hand, definitely not a fun job. I'm not one to be too safety oriented, and I probably should be. So this was definitely an itchy job. Once the insulation and plastic and everything was done, we were able to concentrate on the exterior beautifications, i.e. siding. I knew at this point, once the plastic was going to be done, we were able to heat this building. Once the garage was heated, I was able to start moving things in and being able to maybe make this place livable. However, before we were able to knock out any of that, there had to be a cleanup, which happened inside the garage. And as you can see, it just depended on the day what I was going to complete. So some days we worked inside just because it was cool. Some days I worked outside because it was nice out. It was definitely cool. However, it wasn't raining. Wind wasn't too bad. This day looks like the wind picked up a bit. However, being up on the ladder that high was not fun at all. Now you can see we got some snow on the ground. It didn't last long, probably 4 or 5 days. And getting the siding done was definitely a priority. I really wanted to get the siding done before winter. I wanted this building 99% complete before the full-on winter started. And I think we made it. We made it before the real snow came. And with the completion of each wall, it seemed we were getting a little bit closer to maybe a more relaxation period. And I knew I was gonna do some vacationing this winter, so I wanted to make sure that we were as far as we could go before I left. I would like to take some time to say thanks to everybody who gave me a helping hand when I needed it, anytime they were around. The amount of gracious family members that I have, it's just heartwarming to be around. And for that, I thank you. And as we were in the garage, we have now moved in. I needed to have some type of kitchen area to completely move out of the camper. The camper served its purpose at this point, and I was ready to not have to walk through the snow in the cold to the camper to make coffee, dinner, breakfast, wash dishes, any of that. So I decided to build a functional kitchen. I say functional because it's not going to be pretty. It's not supposed to be pretty. These will eventually be benches for inside the garage, workshop area, if you will. However, I knew this was going to be here for approximately a year, maybe 2, and it would be nice if it looked somewhat pretty. So I took my time. I did a lot of sanding, smoothed everything out. Probably not as good as I should have, but it did serve its purpose. So getting everything stained and in place was truly phenomenal. I was able to make my coffee in the morning right here in the garage without having to dress up and go outside. And for that, I am so thankful. Thanks for staying with me this year. We're up to 400 subscribers, and I've been doing this YouTube thing for 7 months, 6 months, probably 7 months. And for you guys that have stuck with me the whole time, thanks. For all the people that will join, thank you. And I hope you enjoy another year in the Northwoods of Wisconsin.